It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was a right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized into this. Get right on it, Chief.
Captain Skinner, but Bubba's my name. I like my iced tea sweet and my women the same. I'm your brown-haired badge here in little old Sparta, but nobody's bigger or tougher or smarter. If you're looking to fight, best not be with me. Gonna be held tight, well now we'll just see. You never know in the heat of the night on TNT. Heat of the night on TNT. Now I don't put on any airs, but then I ain't no slob. Just a redneck boy with a blue-collar job. The ladies I date, they gonna have 'em some fun, 'cause I'm a big hunk of crime fighting son of a gun. So if you're looking to fight, come on up in the ring. You wanna be held tight, just about anything can happen in the heat of the night on TNT. Hubba, 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 hubba. Heat of the night on TNT. Yeah.
It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Sinlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
From NFL quarterback to Hollywood to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man,
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable. We are live. We are
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KFTX.
Hey, y'all, it's Free for All Friday here on the Alan Autry Show. No retreat. Live broadcasting here from the KXEX bunker at the beautiful Manchester Center. And Jeremy, it's just you and me right now. Guillermo's going to be coming hotter than a hot-butted pig, in a minute. But Bullet Bob, who usually joins us on Fridays, he has something more important to do. Probably has something to do with family. Probably putting family concerns over to this show. That boy's got to get his priorities set right. Now, God, family, and country in that order. And this show, important, but way down the list when you got stuff to do. We sure appreciate you tuning in. We're going to have an important programming change announcement to make here. Well, I'll make it right now. I'm going to probably touch on it 2 or 3 times before our hour is up. But starting on Monday now, we will be going live on the social media, the visual stuff, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, live at 11. That's an hour earlier, Pacific Standard Time. But on radio, we will still be at 12 noon. Okay? It'll be a tape delay, as they say. So anyway, that's going to happen starting on Monday. So try to remember that because our audience is growing. Appreciate you so much. Steadily and surely, like the little engine that could, we keep chugging along and keep getting more people on board here with this, with Autry's Army. I only put Autry there because I'm happen to be in the saddle right now. When I'm gone, when I can't do it anymore, the priorities of God, family, country, and loving this country with all of its imperfections and working hard to correct those imperfections in a very committed way. Because believe me, my patriotism is not rooted in the thinking this country is totally perfect. And I know most of you out there feel the same way, that are extremely patriotic, that celebrate July 4th, that stand by our country and our veterans who've shed their blood, some given of their lives for this great country. We're not there yet. A great country is never a destination. You never get there. You never get to the destination. You're always striving towards that more perfect union. That's why you can correct flaws like slavery that other countries still have in place. That's why you can rectify the flaws of women not having the same rights as men. We had a system in place called the Constitution that allowed it to fix itself. The Constitution was written like a vaccine, an antibiotic to things that could creep in that did not support freedom and liberty and pursuit of happiness for all, regardless of your faith, your skin color, or whatever. That's what those documents, Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, guaranteed every citizen certain inalienable rights, meaning they weren't given by man to other men, or women to other women, women to men, men to women, human being to human being. Let's put it that way. Those rights were given by God to every human being on earth, the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And there were some others, and that were codified in the Bill of Rights. Very few countries, when you look around the world, have that type of freedom codified in their constitution as when they were founded as a nation. Most scholars back then, most of the pundits around the world, they basically laughed. They said, what are those guys doing over there? A government of the people, by the people, for the people. My goodness, that's not a government. That's just chaos. That's a recipe for disaster. People can't deal with freedom. People can't handle the truth. People can't handle freedom. Well, we have. We handle it pretty darn good. And like I said, I heard somebody say one time, the American system is the worst system ever created by man except for all the others. And I kind of buy into that. And so when you hear me declaring my love for this country,
It's not a blind love that thinks that we have by any stretch reached the destination that we're saying we're a great country. You don't do that as a human being. Have you known people like that said, you know what? This is as good as it gets. I'm a really good guy, and I can't get any better. I'm so good, I'm going to stop trying to get better. You got to watch out for that dude. You got to watch. They're out there, but and they're usually people you really don't want to be around. People that you can't trust. When you think you've become as good as possible, you are so pleased with yourself that you treat your friends right, your wife right, your kids right. You never even let the thought of doing something wrong or unethical enter your mind at all. You are, by your definition, perfect. You got to run for the hills from those type of people. And it's you're always striving to be a better person today than you were yesterday, and hope you're going to be a better person tomorrow than you are today. That's should be the same for our country. And if you look at it that way, and you look at this country, and you do, and this is one case, I'm normally not a big comparative guy. You know, people like to compare themselves, their behavior to worse behavior. Like, you see the guy with, the person has a $700 electric bill. Well, I don't use as much electricity in my house as they do in Las Vegas. They keep the lights on 24/7. Or, hey, I just hit my wife 12 times. My friend down the road hit his wife last week 50 times. So I'm only 1/3 as bad as that guy. These comparisons are not normally something I embrace, but there's certain times where comparison is valid, is a good thing. And I think if you live in the United States of America and you don't appreciate where you are, because if you were born in the United States of America, pretty much under any condition, and I know that is a broad tent, and there's a lot of very challenging situations that people are born into. But if you look in terms of just surviving, of having some creature comforts available to you, to be able to improve your lot in life if you work hard and play by the rules, there's really no comparison around the world with the United States of America. Go ahead and do the comparison. What country can a black person go to reach the dreams of bettering themselves financially, freedom-wise? You think in Africa? Go do a little research on Africa. And slavery is still alive and well there. Blacks enslaving blacks. I mean, there's countries, whites enslaving whites, in essence. Indentured servitude, whatever other name you want to put them. No, you do what the guy who has power over you tells you to do, or you don't get food in your mouth or your family's mouth. That's called slavery. But there's 17 black billionaires in the world. That's not enough. By a long shot. There's 17 billionaires. 14 of those billionaires are from the United States of America, live in the United States of America. Now, that alone should tell you something in comparison to rights provided to people of color. So maybe a little bit of a comparison would be good for your attitude towards this country. And I say that because these polls are coming out, and there's too many of them. I'm not a big believer in one isolated poll. But there's those saying where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't necessarily believe if there's smoke, there's a huge fire. Maybe there is maybe a little bit of smoke, a little fire. And if you get there and you see what it is, but sometimes there is so much smoke. On that last fire up in the Sierras, it instantly was a huge amount of smoke. We could see it from 41 Highway here, folks that are local. And you know what? There's a lot of smoke there so I know with pretty much surety that there's a big fire burning up in them our hills. And it was. And there's a lot of smoke in these polls because one right after the other say that patriotism in this country, they show it empirically, among every age group except seniors over 65. And you can delve in kind of the reasons why that is an anomaly in the study. And I say it's an anomaly because most of the people
do not have a strong patriotic feeling about America. And that hurts me because that's where it all starts, when you stop caring about your country or thinking that your country is good. Now, is it any wonder, though, that that's the case? When you have people on this woke left trying to paint America as it is today, the biggest threat to democracy, true democracy in the way they define it, on the face of the earth. They feel America is literally the Satan in the Garden of Eden. If Satan was just destroyed and run out of the garden, we would have literally paradise on earth with the woke left agenda in place. Everybody gets free stuff. Nobody has to work. You reward criminals. You know, there's no such thing as the John Lennon song says, imagine there's no country, no borders, no nothing. Just everybody singing together, kumbaya, no violence. Because why? Because the woke, part of that woke philosophy is a very strong iron hand that you get out of line, the men come and take you away, as the old 60 song says. Now they point to China. I mean, you're having people, leaders around the world, in all sincerity, trying to play it off of us as a joke, but we know that they're actually sincere, like Justin Trudeau on tape around a bunch of young people saying how much he envies Xi Jinping and the system that he has there, because he is so anointed with intelligence, so farly superior in his intellect that he knows what's best for the people. So that iron hand that's coming down when somebody steps out of line on the COVID protocol, and the punishment is we're going to nail you shut in your apartment until you starve to death. And that's going to send a message to the rest of Chinese people. You better do exactly what the government says. And because it's a thing called utilitarianism. Utilitarianism means you do what is necessary for the benefit of the majority, of the most people. And if people get killed along the way, or there's some things that may look horrendous and are horrendous, it's okay, because in their line of thinking, taking those lives are going to save lives and create a quality of life for the others. Case in point, Joseph Stalin didn't think twice about killing several million of his own people because they dared to question the communist orthodoxy, the ideology, to even question it. Many of them he grew up with. And he was able, in a good conscience, apparently, and with a lot of followers, apparently, said, you know, we have to cut the head off of this serpent before their ideology catches hold with the people and the whole communist utopia dream is destroyed. So let's line them up and let's shoot them. Mao Zedong did the same thing in China. When Chiang Kai-shek was run out of mainland China, went over there to what is now Taiwan, became the leader there, thank goodness. But Mao wound up killing millions of his people who were not, as he called, communist purists. They didn't think like they're supposed to think. And Mao knew what you were thinking by your actions, your inactions. And if you acted in a way that displeased him or was against the communist orthodoxy, he'd line you up and kill you. And you say, well, that would never happen in America. You know, first of all, never is a pretty big word. And you see the direction these political ideologies are going, where honestly, I'm going to say something, I'm going to take a break, but I really believe this. And it pains me to say it. Hold the music for a second, Jeremy. I'm sorry, I don't normally do that because I don't know if this is what I'm going to say is anything running under it would do it good. Because I thought long and hard about this, whether to say this. I hate that I believe it. I don't want to believe it, but I promised you truth on the table here. And not to spin it, try to be judicious. I don't purposely hurt anybody's feelings. I'll poke fun at some folks there, but it's all in good natured, and I don't name call folks in a mean, vicious way. I think that's good. But I feel in this country right now, and I'm not going to put a percentage on it. Yeah, I am. In my heart, I think it's over 30%. It may be more than that. But I really do believe that at least 30% of the people in this country would like to see Donald Trump before a firing squad and shot dead on TV, and do it all in the name of protecting democracy. I truly believe that. I believe the hatred for this man, the extent that people are going to, well-educated people that know better, would truly have truly taken on that utilitarian belief, that poisonous belief that kind of action is good for the country. To send a message that this is what happens when vicious dictators that hate black people and Mexican people and gay people and trans people. Well, some of you there are saying he didn't say that. Well, yeah, that's how they're painting him. Just watch the networks. Listen to the people on the left. This man is no longer a human being that deserves the rights of other human beings, that is innocent until proven guilty. He is nothing less than a demon. And that whole thing back in the day when Kathy Griffin held up a severed Donald Trump head and basically said, this is what should happen to this man, that you go ISIS on him, that if ISIS did this, it would be okay. And there was some token Anderson Cooper, I guess to his credit a little bit, because him and Kathy Griffin were really good friends. They used to hold that little thing together on New Year's night and stuff. You could tell they were very good friends. Even he said, well, that's a little bit too far. A little bit too far? A little bit too far. And I know this because I know people that I've grown up with. And it fits into about that 30% category that have told me they would love to see Donald Trump dead. I don't know how good that is for the country because, you know what? I don't think there's been a more destructive president in my lifetime. Because I went back the other night and thought it through. He had Nixon, he had Carter. There's never been in my lifetime a more destructive president that we are going to suffer the consequences of this president's policies for generations and the position he's put this country in, the suffering that his policies are causing now and are going to continue to cause, than Joe Biden. Okay? Horrible things he's done, I feel. But I don't want to see Joe Biden dead. I want to see his policies challenged. I want to see real debate. I want to see him defeated in 2024. You bet your last dollar, Alan Autry. I do. I don't mind saying that because I can tell you why. And you can tell me why you want him to stay on. That's the American way. But I don't want your guy to be shot. I don't want him to die. And a frightening percentage of people are starting to feel that way. And that's why in a 50-50 country, and that's why I'm really, really close to, I tell you, really get behind with what little juice I have. Vivek Ramaswamy, because he's talking about these things. He's very articulate. He's 37 years old. I urge you, listen to this man. Because he's not demonizing the left. He's demonizing some of the policies, but he's not demonizing people. In fact, he says, my number one goal is try to bring this country together the best we can. And you don't do it by using rhetoric. You can be passionate. You can be strong. You can say things that stir people up. But we can go to the break right now, Jeremy. We can get to music in now. But when we come back, we're going to talk about a statement that was made by a guy that I have a lot of respect for, that I was thinking about voting for. That's Ron DeSantis. You don't come in and say, I'm going to start slitting throats. You just don't say, even though you go, well, he just meant the bureaucracy, not the human, just the bureaucracy. I know, but you got to have more common sense than to use something like that. I was shocked. I'm still trying to process that. But anyway, those of you who are still around, stick around for the next half hour. We're going to have Guillermo with you. And if I told you lately that I love you, hey, that'd make a great song. Don't you think, Jeremy? All right. I love you, folks. See you in a bit.
The ring of fire, the ring of fire.
Yeah, folks, we have to just tone down the rate. I'm saying go ahead, speak your mind. When people talk about Ronald Reagan, one of the first things that usually comes out of their mouth was strong leader, tough on the Soviet Union, love of America. Even Jimmy Carter at his funeral said he brought a patriotism back to our country that we had lost, and lost a lot of it during Jimmy Carter's term. That's why, I like Jimmy Carter was a good man. His policies were bad, but he was an honest man. He wasn't afraid to put praise on Ronald Reagan, the guy who just won the biggest landslide ever against him. He had every reason to be bitter, but Reagan never called him a name. He went after the policies. He went after the ideology, but he was too big of a man. He was a man. People, that's what I said. He was a man. Real men don't have to resort to calling profane names. And I think it starts with that. Well, Alan, we're past that. We are. We're in a very profane world, vulgar world. I mean, we've got a business down in the Tower District. It's a little artsy district here in Fresno, which I love. Happen to love, by the way. There's a restaurant opening up there, and they have all of the items on the menu with a sexual aspect to them. Come on. People, they'll probably make it. Food's good. They will probably. But we live in a very vulgar, profane world. But you don't have to be of the world. Vivek Ramaswamy has proven that. That guy's catapulted up to number 3. And if Trump doesn't run, I think he takes out DeSantis. And you may have Vivek Ramaswamy, somebody who the left never expected they would have to deal with. And let me tell you, he is a full load to deal with. When we come back on the radio, I'm talking about Vivek, Mayor Dyer's
20 seconds.
If you have the breath to do it.
You say Dyer, I say I got plenty of hot air. I don't care. If I could run a half marathon and I'll still do a radio show.
You missed a brilliant half hour.
Did I?
Oh,
I'll hear it again at 4.
I was just
30.
3 seconds.
No, I was just bloviating like always.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Simlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
All right, welcome back to Alan Autry No Retreat Free for All Friday. We've got Guillermo Moreno has slid in next to me to my right. So happy to have Guillermo. Welcome, Guillermo.
Good afternoon.
It's time. I spent like over $180 on fights last weekend.
What did you want?
The Errol Spence Terrence Crawford fight, which is a horrible fight. Crawford beat the living daylights out of it. And then the Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier fight. I had my laptop there with one of them on watching TV. I mean, that's a sick dude.
Why did you invite me over, Alan?
You can come over. Did you like the fights?
I love boxing.
Oh, do you like MMA?
And I think that's
I can turn you into that.
Fake.
I can get you addicted.
MMA, it's all fake.
Yeah, those teeth flying out of the. out of the head is fake.
There's no rules.
But WWE is real.
Oh man,
right?
that's as real as they come.
That's as real as they come. Just ask Ronda Rousey. Yeah.
No, I love.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you. That's what happened. Trump should just go all the way. Yeah, Trump should just do that. I'm telling you. If he gets put away in prison, he should just go there before he goes, turn to the cameras and go, whoa! Oh, when I get out, and I'm going to get out. Oh, I'm going to start a movement. They thought MAGA was coming after them. Well, wait till they get MAGA 2.0. Oh, yeah, I'm coming out. I'm going to get these prisoners on my side. There's going to be a red wave go throughout all the prisons in America. And then you know what? I'm going to be for mass parole and pardons. How many votes is that, Bill Barr? Oh, you turned on me, you turncoat. Where's my Mike Pence? Oh, you turned on me, too.
Oh,
where's that Vivek Ramaswamy? Where's he? He's on my side. He's standing up for me. Yeah. He should. He should just go WW. What's he got to lose? That's what he said to the black people. What do you got to lose? And he was right.
Yeah.
The democratic principles have kept you enslaved and on zip code plantations in school districts and every other issue. All right, let me ask you this, because I've been wanting to do for a long time.
Yeah.
And then we'll get the local here, Doc.
Okay, shoot.
You would be the first one because I've heard you on the show. Not a big fan of Mitch McConnell, right? You're not a big fan.
No, I wouldn't say a big fan. No.
You kind of not really what you would call a hardcore conservative. He's really ticked off a lot of the more conservative folks.
And that's
some of his actions.
True,
right?
But that doesn't bother me.
Okay. But just as a frame, you think I'm correct in that, though.
Absolutely.
The Jim Jordans, the Cruzes, the Handys, they go after Mitch McConnell. Tucker Carlson, they went after McConnell.
Yeah.
That's not me. But Mitch McConnell, I look back on this. And when Merrick Garland was up for nomination, Merrick Garland was getting some of this far-right support going, okay, we knew he was going to, Obama was going to nominate a liberal. But this guy, Garland, okay, we could do a lot worse than Garland. He's, you can work with him. Yeah, he's liberal, but we can. McConnell knew something about this guy. McConnell stopped that nomination. He himself, people were asking, why is he digging in his heels against Merrick Garland? Well, Mitch, bless his heart. We wish him, better health.
Yeah.
But he knew. He had seen something in Merrick Garland that said, this guy, I can't support him on Supreme Court. And I don't know, he somehow smelled them out that this is probably your most far left, radical, rabid left winger that you could put on the court, and somehow either heard that from somebody, saw it, got that feeling. Because if Mitch McConnell, the leader, hadn't dug his heels in, you would have Merrick Garland on the Supreme Court. The same guy that's unleashing the powers of the FBI, the DOJ on parents at school board meetings, that has blocked the investigation of Hunter Biden, has told Jack Smith, you do whatever you want, make up everything you want, take the law and do, the same thing they did with the COVID virus, do your engineering, your social gain of function on these laws and turn it into something deadly that it's not, that it wasn't before.
Yep.
Go for it. Do whatever you have to do. And this country owes Mitch McConnell a big thank you. I mean, he's wreaking enough havoc as Attorney General.
Yeah.
Imagine on the Supreme Court, you wouldn't have any of these Roe versus Wade. You wouldn't have any of this the stuff that's going to be solid for America going forward if you believe in a colorblind society.
Yeah. Well, no, you're right. I think that Mitch McConnell does get a bad rap, and it's normally from the ultra MAGAs, because they're like, you don't agree with everything Donald Trump or the MAGA movement agrees on, so we don't like you, which is why you have Sean Hannity and these other individuals going after him. But now that I think about it, he's not my favorite Republican senator. He's not my least favorite, because I feel like in the Senate, he runs it like the old boys club, the establishment type. That's the way he works. That's the way he's probably been brought up in politics. So that aspect, I don't like it. To me, he's very establishment. He probably is the epitome of establishment. But his greatest achievements, now that I'm thinking about more, you're right, keeping Merrick Garland off. And his other achievement is, don't forget the trial of Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. He was impeached, but it wasn't successful removing him from office. So I think Mitch does get a bad rap. Is he my favorite? Absolutely not. Do I think there's a better leader in the Senate that could emerge? Heck yeah. Absolutely. I think Marco Rubio, would be outstanding for the Republican Party in the U.S. Senate. Or if Tim Scott doesn't win.
What do you think about
when Tim Scott doesn't win, and he's not a vice presidential candidate, he will be a good choice for the United States.
All right, let me ask you. Before you got here.
I've been here the whole time.
Ron DeSantis. Case in point of how you can literally derail a candidacy, possibly even destroy it, with one offhand comment that is so egregious, plays into the hands of your opposition so well, and makes some of your supporters go, what? Did you hear what he said the other day about what he's going to do with your bureaucracy? I get what he was saying. Bloated government needs to be reduced. Absolutely.
I didn't hear this one. What did he say?
He says, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to slit some throats. And you just
it's really bad.
Don't say that. You don't use that kind of language. And coming out of him, I would expect him to be the one mentoring a younger candidate, saying, now watch, I know you're going to get emotional out there. You're going to want to try to, appeal to a certain group that you need, and that's okay. That's politics. But you have to watch what you say. I really think this is a big deal. Words mean things. And what's your thought?
Alan, we got to go back in the archives here, Jeremy, producer. I don't want to toot my own horn here, but man, I've been right on a lot. I've also been wrong on a lot, so I'm not gonna be.
I know where you're going.
I said this before he was even jumping in. I said, folks, Ron DeSantis does not have it to run for president. He doesn't have the charisma. He doesn't have. Oh, but he's done such a good job with Florida. Being a Republican now is easy in Florida, so that I never liked that argument. And you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about here, Alan. The problem with Ron DeSantis is, and you see this here locally, you see this at the state level, and you see this on the federal level, congressional candidates. You have candidates on both sides, who don't have the relatability to people, and they decide to run for office, and they want everybody else to do the work. So and they feel like they're owed. You have candidates like that. You have a lot of candidates right now like that. So you don't have candidates that are.
I'm glad Trump doesn't think that.
Oh, not at all. He's not Trump.
He doesn't think
he doesn't think like that at all.
He doesn't think he's owed the nomination. But what Trump are you talking about?
But you've seen candidates like this, right? They won't walk. They won't make phone calls. They're not out there getting their hands dirty, right? And DeSantis, I wouldn't say he's totally like that, but you put the lack of charisma in there, and you put the lack of relatability in there. He's like, and I don't know how to say this without offending people. He's almost like, you know how homeschool kids struggle if they've been homeschooled all their life. They kind of socially, right? That's Ron DeSantis right there.
Mm-hmm. I don't mind that. I don't mind a quiet, thoughtful person. Like they're telling, well, I sat on the plane next to him for 5 hours. He didn't say a word. That doesn't bother me. Some people, it's your action.
No, that's weird, Alan. If you're sitting next to someone for 5 hours and the guy doesn't talk to you, that's weird.
Some people are I'm concerned. I'm more concerned about that than I would be Trump's tweets. I would say, yeah, it'd be nice if you were more talkative, but I want to know what your policies are. When you institute the policies, because that affects me, not the fact that you're not social. And in fact, with Trump, yeah, I wish you wouldn't have tweeted that. That's a bad tweet. But I'm more concerned about your position on school choice, so you can let people of color have as much access to a quality education as white kids. I'm a policy-driven person. I have to pick policy over personality. That's just ingrained in me. I guess it's my athletic background, because I want a good coach that can prepare me for the team. Because to me, it was a health issue in the National Football League. I was a quarterback. Come game time, you got 11 angry people. Back in the day, we were playing Pittsburgh Steelers, the Steel Curtain. And I needed to be prepared for that game. My offensive line needed to be prepared for that game. They needed to have the best information, the best coaching possible there on information and technique. And let me tell you, the offensive line coach there was horrible. His language is horrible. He would get in people's faces. he would talk behind their back to other players, making sure that they heard it from the guy. Yeah, I'm talking about not behind your back. Yeah, I'm talking about it. I'm comparing you. You better get your butt in gear or we're going to lose badly. And for me, as a quarterback, it was a health issue as well as a sports issue.
Oh, yeah.
If that offensive line wasn't ready to play, so we didn't really care about personality. Can you get us ready to win that game? Are you willing to do what's necessary? And I saw kind of an ironic thing. The ones that were very touchy-feely really didn't prepare as good as those tough coaches that had deep personality flaws. They wouldn't want, hey, off of that football field, I don't want to go have a hamburger with you. I don't want to be around you. You're not a pleasant guy. Or you're intimidatingly quiet.
Yeah.
As Homer Smith was, my coach at the University of Pacific. And almost disturbingly quiet, but he had great game plans, had great systems, great policies, if you will, if you want to see where I'm going with this analogy. So I don't mind that. But when you come out and you're communicating with the people, that's a kind of a policy thing.
Yeah.
A little bit. And when it bothers me because I think he has great policies. I think he's probably has that little bit of intimidation factor. You know what Trump, I say he was so successful, he said he would get 5 hours sleep. He was there. He would give you specific tasks that he would have follow-up meetings, want a progress report. And if you didn't have that progress report, so they were a little scared of him. I don't think they're scared of Joe Biden.
No. His son-in-law
His
was...
staff's not scared of him. They should... DeSantis?
I
believe in Florida, he got done what he got done because he was results oriented. Personality challenged, you bet. But when the hurricanes hit, he's sitting there going, I expect such and such to be done at this site, and I want it done in 3 days. I'm going to have you back here. He's that type of guy.
But that's not hard, Alan.
What?
When you have the resources...
I'll let you be mayor for 3 days.
Hey,
let me be
Dyer, give it to me.
Exactly.
The city would be different in 3 days.
Let me see what you do in 3 days with a department that you don't hold accountable. That you see, if you don't put deadlines, if you're not willing to be disliked for a while. This problem with Dyer, he wants to be liked by everybody.
Yeah. Well, then before we go to Dyer, can I tell you about something?
No.
Yeah.
This is your station. What are you doing asking me? You can
our station.
Interrupt me anytime you want.
So besides
people out there going, please interrupt him, Guillermo. Please interrupt him.
Oh gosh,
I listened to it the other day, and I'm going to stop it because I do interrupt people. I got to stop that.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I was listening to the playback. I'm holding my head, driving down 41, going to myself, let the guy finish. Shut up with your big mouth, Autry.
Well, you know I feel bad for is Bob because he's got both of us. Poor Bob is like, I feel bad for Bob. We gotta apologize.
And then
to
when
Bob.
he finally speaks, he speaks for about 20 seconds and explains everything better than we ever did or ever could. Takes his time. Well, I hear what both you and Guillermo are saying, but I just offered this. It's not. I don't really know. I'm not an expert on this. And then when he says that, proceeds to lay out a perfect explanation of what we're talking. But go ahead.
All right. So besides KXEX, where the best conversations are held, the place where you really get a really good sense of what's going on is in the barbershop. Am I right or am I right? Well, and that's with men. I mean, in the salon, I'm sure that happens with women.
My wife cuts my hair. So
yes. Then you miss out.
No, I don't. I get some very good opinions, mostly about me.
Yeah. I was at the barbershop yesterday, and my barber, I'm not going to lie to you, he's probably listening.
Oh, yeah, that's a good looking guy.
He is, kind of the fade's a little off. He is uber liberal. He has got a hand portrait that he basically drew himself of Obama, hanging right there. So every time he flips me around in the chair, I got to look at Obama looking at me. This is how liberal this guy is. So he's how long do you think this haircut took, Alan?
Oh gosh, that's a good haircut.
Thank you. 3 hours. You want to know why? Because he'll go zzz, and it's more like therapy. He doesn't take any clients he doesn't like. He can't get along with. So it's not about money.
He obviously knows you're conservative.
Oh.
So he's going to take that 3 hours to do the little Guantanamo reorientation.
Exactly. Okay. And you're sitting there and your butt's going numb The AC doesn't work, so it's hotter than Hades in there. And he loves to talk about politics.
Don't you hate that when they're good?
Yeah,
because they're good.
Yes,
you got to go back.
Exactly.
He gives you the haircut you want, so you got to sit there and take. Oh gosh, I've been there.
And all the clients know too. We all walk in the door and we're like, there's still someone in the chair. It looks like it'll be another hour. And we'll engage in this political talk. So
you never want to say, well, I don't think Trump was that bad because there'll be a slip and all of a sudden you got the mohawk.
He despises Trump. Okay, despises him. So there's been a couple times now. Yesterday there was a young black man in the chair, small business owner, and works at a cellular company. And they're going back and forth. They were talking about my barber was talking about how immoral Trump is and what a bad husband Trump is and what just scum of the earth. And the other guy said, listen, I don't like Trump as a person, but for me, he goes, I voted for Obama. And I was disappointed. Black man, young black man. And he said, the best that I've ever done were the 4 years that Trump was in office. And he goes, let me tell you something else. He goes, and I don't measure it by me. He goes, I measure how we're doing as a country off of the middle class and the poor. And he goes, and he looks over at my barber and says, during those 4 years, both of those classes were doing the best. He goes, so nah, man, like I don't like the guy, but I don't have to like him.
That's why, yeah.
And this is a young black man, Obama voter.
Yeah. Well, he's a free thinker.
And
he's refusing to be brainwashed. He knows what he sees. He's refusing to be gaslit.
Yeah.
Because they tell him, hey, everything's great. The economy's great. Bidenomics is working. Yeah, if you have a lifelong desire to be dirt poor, it's working for you. Yeah, that's your goal. Bidenomics is your system, baby.
Exactly.
But, they hate Trump. You know why the media hates Trump? Because he was successful without them.
Yeah, exactly.
And they spent 4 years trying to destroy his policies from even being implemented.
Mm-hmm.
They were implemented. He was tremendously successful. Lowest unemployment rate in black community in history. Same with the Hispanic community. Secure borders. You had low inflation, low interest rates. It was, by every measure, the strongest economy in the history of the United States of America, outside of the debt. Later on in his term, he started doing this stimulus stuff, which I did not agree with. I knew it was going to backfire. It wasn't going to be enough money coming to any of us to make any difference in our lives. And yet it was going to continue to bankrupt the country. Just move that along. But he not only did they not support him, he took them on. The first president ever to take them on and play the game the way they played it. Dirty.
Yes, sir.
He got into the cage, and when he was called out, he called them back out, and he was successful. Their fear is if he gets back in office, and these policies, which are centered all around personal liberties, individual rights to start your own business, to taking government as much out of your life and let you and your own wisdom and your own decisions lead the way, that more businesses will be created, that we need to have a sensible border policy, that we know who's coming in, that you have a monetary policy that keeps inflation and the inflationary factors in place, that you have a Fed that knows what they're doing, that you have a Treasury Secretary that knows what they're doing. They're afraid that if he gets back into office, reinstitutes those policies, and they work again, that their message, their brand is not going to sell well. Because you've already seen, if you saw the data, now the mainstream media is not, well, I take that back. There was one mainstream media that did. It was CNN. They poo-pooed this latest survey. They tried to spin it, but nonetheless, this is what it said. You're seeing a big lean towards conservatism by 18-year-olds, the generation behind Generation Z coming up, and it's among young men.
It's true.
Now, the other flip side of that is the young girls are becoming more liberal, but you have the men, the young men, for some inexplicable reason, starting to identify with conservative values.
I don't know if it's inexplicable.
You will usually think young people like free things, like free stuff. They don't think things through. They'll say that, hey, if you're in your 20s and you're not liberal, you don't have a heart. And if you're not conservative when you're 40s, you don't have a brain. There's something to that. There's something to that. I see Jeremy. I see his head shake. Something to that. So anyway, this is something we need to discuss. And I said something before you came on the air. I guess I will repeat it because it is the ugly truth. I promise you the truth. There's a growing number of people who want to see Trump dead. They want to see him die in prison, and that is not America.
I don't want to see that happen to anybody.
But I tell you one thing: they fool around. They're successful, put that guy behind bars. You be careful what you wish for. You're going to Nelson Mandela-ize this man.
Yeah.
He is going to become a folk hero. There's going to be more than Jason Aldean writing songs about this guy. Because when you try to explain historically, and I know the winners get to write the history books. Whoever wins gets to write the history of the war. Okay, I get that. But even when you try to write what you're putting this guy in prison for the rest of his life, God forbid he dies in prison because he mishandled documents or he defrauded the government. How did he steal money when he was president? Well, no. He will defraud. Well, he asked a bunch of questions about an election during COVID. Well, what happened during COVID? They had these drop boxes that nobody was watching over. You didn't really have to show an ID. You had mail-in ballots that you very easily to compromise and send in fake ballots. All of these anomalies happen. And then if you had a president who won districts by many thousands of votes that reversed, and suddenly you were seeing a $200,000 vote lead disappear overnight in battleground states, and they wouldn't let people watch the counting. That's kind of what happened. And then you're saying, well, wait a minute. If that happened to me, I'd ask some questions. But what do you mean? Well, no, he conspired to overthrow the government on January 6th. Well, what happened to January 6th? Well, a bunch of these people. Oh, okay, I get it. He there led them into the Capitol to stop the process. Well, no. Well, what did he say to incite? He said to peacefully and patriotically go make your voices heard. He was convicted. That's the conspiracy to overthrow the government, to stop a free and fair election. Yeah, and he died in prison for that. I mean, you try explaining that. If you had, he murdered somebody, or he did 1/10 of what Joe Biden is accused of. If he was making money from foreign countries, they've looked at his financial records up and down. They can't find one check that went to any company of Trump's from a foreign government that could not be explained.
Yeah, the man's lost a lot of money. Let's be real.
But do you agree that if they succeed, they could suffer the biggest loss to their brand that could last generations?
Oh, without a doubt. And I think you're right. It will Mandela-ize him, so to speak. And here's the issue that I have with the left. And I wanted to say this yesterday. I reminded myself here. The left, I think they have candidates that possibly could be Trump. I think they do.
Who?
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
No, I didn't mean they'd play catchy. I think their bench is weak. Boy, the Republican bench is deep.
It's weak, but elections are all about math problems and strategy, right? So I'm sure they could find a candidate to beat Trump, but they don't want to. Their strategy is to literally go after the guy, which is real. RFK, there you go. I think RFK could possibly beat Trump very, very narrowly. Because RFK, I think, I have a lot of conservatives saying, hey, I kind of like this RFK guy. So I think RFK, so I don't know why they're going all in on this is their playbook. When you go on the football field, you don't have one play, right?
No,
multiple. You got a game plan.
Yeah.
So anyhow, that's what I think.
Yeah, I don't think. I think maybe Joe Manchin. I think probably the best bet for the Democrats is something like happened back when Clinton ran against Bush. He just this obscure governor with a lot of charisma that nobody knew about.
There you go.
Emerged, and they're out there.
No baggage.
they're out there. Yeah, Clinton had some baggage.
Well,
Yeah, little bit of
Little
baggage.
bit.
But nobody knew about it because it was confined to Arkansas, and the state troopers did a good job protecting it. But they're out there. They need to bring them forward. But I think a lot of those folks are so afraid of the woke left. They're saying, do I want to be really a part of this? Because I think they see the train wreck that's inevitably coming to this country. You can't continue to implement these far left woke policies. No border, that anybody in it wants to come in. Defund the police, puts the criminals' rights over the victims' rights. Tax people till they don't have much to give, anything to give but blood, and you tax that one drop at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You get into wars, foreign wars that you can't win, and you're going to continue to fund that. I don't. And then you think the key to this country is making sure every child is socially engineered to question their gender. I don't know if a country could ever prosper with that. And then, by the way, let's go to, before we're even remotely ready to make the transition in a cost-effective way, let's just shut down every car that's running on fossil fuel. And everybody has electric cars, and that shuts down every grid across the country.
Boo.
And then,
Hold on, breaking news. Zuckerberg is
installing
a fighting cage. It's an octagon.
He is going to tear Elon Musk a new rear end. There's no doubt. And I'm pulling for Musk. There's no way.
I'm pulling for Musk, too.
There's going to be two hits, as they say. Zuckerberg hitting him and Musk hitting around.
I love this.
I think what he'll do, though, he wants to see Musk tap out. So I'm thinking he'll knock him out. I think he'll
They're never going to fight.
No,
Musk he can't agree to that.
He already has.
They cannot fight.
He can't back down now.
All right. Well, when you pay for it, because that's going to be over $100.
I'll pay to watch that freak show.
We'll go have it, and we'll watch it at your place.
They get me. But Zuckerberg's been training, and he's wiry, and hey, Musk is up there, 50-something years old.
It's just not. It's not fair.
They should never agreed to it. But once you agree to it,
yeah, you can't back down.
Oh man, he's just gonna. I think he's gonna probably get him in either an arm bar, but if you get him in a knee bar, you give up when you tap out. It really makes you look bad because your face is grimacing. You're going around. He wants to inflict as much pain on Musk, I think, as he can. Yeah. So a simple knockout would work because you just knock out an old man.
I just want Zuckerberg to give him or Musk to get him in a headlock and say, "You like that? You like that? Like your little Facebook?"
He'll reverse that on him. Bad move. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Free for All Friday. We love you so much. Again, programming note. Next week, we're going live at 11 a.m., 1 hour earlier. But on radio, we'll be the same, 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. God bless you. Just do your best and let God do the rest. And we'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye now.